Listening to stories is one of the best ways to improve your English. You don't need to memorize grammar rules or study boring lists. Just relax, enjoy the journey, and let your brain absorb the language. We release stories like this every day, so if you want to keep learning the fun way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a story. It started with a simple idea. He didn't want a normal day. He didn't want a to-do list or a regular walk around the same old streets. He wanted to feel something new, even if it was small. So he told himself, "Today, I'll follow the weird signs." That's it. No plan, no destination. Just let the strange signs guide the way. The city was full of movement, as always. Cars passed by like waves, people hurried with phones in hand, and horns called out in the distance. But he didn't rush. He looked up. He looked around. He searched for something that stood out. And then he saw it, a bright purple sign that said, "We sell clouds." That was enough. He crossed the street and stepped inside. The place smelled like lavender and paint. It wasn't really selling clouds, of course, but there were shelves full of white pillows, paper mobiles shaped like storms, and bottles with strange names like sky in a jar. He smiled. He didn't need to buy anything. Just being in the shop was enough to feel like he'd entered a different world. He stepped back outside, more awake than before. The game had started. What would the next sign be? He turned a corner and kept walking until he saw one that said, "You forgot something. Come in." He didn't hesitate. Inside, the shop was full of vintage items. Old clocks, postcards, hats from decades ago. There was even a typewriter near the door with a piece of paper that read, "Write your memory here." He didn't write anything, but he touched the keys. They felt heavy, like they held time inside them. Outside again, the city seemed to shift. It wasn't just buildings and noise anymore. It was full of possibility. Every turn could lead somewhere strange, somewhere forgotten. He wandered without checking the time. The only rule, follow the next weird sign. He passed a tiny door with the words, "Only open when you smile." So he smiled. The door opened. Inside, it was more of a narrow hallway than a shop, lined with mirrors that bent his reflection into different shapes. Some made him tall, others short. One made him look like he was dancing. He laughed at his own reflection and then continued on. Not far away, he noticed a green painted window with hand-drawn letters that read, "Books that don't end." He pushed open the creaky door and walked into the quiet space. The shop was full of books without titles, only symbols on their covers. The shelves curved like waves. In the back, there was a chair that looked like it had been there for 100 years. He ran his fingers across the spines, wondering what kind of stories were inside. He didn't open any. Just being near them felt magical. He kept going. Another shop had a chalkboard sign that said, "Today's special, Forgotten Dreams." Inside, a woman was painting large circles on the walls, over and over. There were dream catchers hanging from the ceiling, jars filled with feathers and dried flowers, and strange music playing from a radio that didn't seem plugged in. He stayed there for a few minutes, listening, feeling like he was underwater. He didn't notice the hours passing. His phone stayed in his pocket. The world outside the signs didn't matter. He was in a new city now, not made of buildings and streets, but made of curiosity and wonder. Further down the road, he noticed a metal sign that read, "Knock 3 times." It was attached to a large wooden door that looked like it hadn't been opened in years. He knocked. Once, twice, 3 times. Nothing happened. Then, slowly, The door creaked open to reveal a small tea shop with no menu. A man inside just pointed to a table. He sat down, and soon a cup of tea arrived. It tasted like something he couldn't describe, soft and warm, with a bit of cinnamon or maybe cardamom. He didn't ask what it was. He just drank and listened to the soft sound of rain on the windows, even though it wasn't raining outside. When he left, the city felt familiar again. But now he had new eyes. He saw signs he'd never noticed before. Some were just old, faded, and forgotten. Others had strange words, strange colors, or shapes that didn't belong. Each one pulled at him, and he followed them like threads. He found a bakery with a sign that said, "Only open for the brave." He found a bookstore that said, "We sell silence." He found a plant shop with a sign that whispered, "Please don't wake them." Every place had its own feeling, its own small world inside. As the light began to change and the shadows stretched across the street, he realized he had walked further than usual. His feet were tired, but his heart was full. He had spoken to almost no one all day, yet he felt deeply connected to places, to objects, to ideas that lived just under the surface of ordinary life. He sat down on a bench near a fountain, a small bag of postcards in his hand. He hadn't planned to buy them, but one had a picture of a door floating in the sky, and another had a question written in messy handwriting. What if you're not lost, just looking? That line stayed with him. Maybe that was the point of his day. Not to find something, but just to look. Just to follow signs that didn't make sense, but felt right. He thought about coming back tomorrow and doing the same. Or maybe he'd try a different challenge. Following only places that smelled like cinnamon, or only doors that were painted blue. The possibilities felt endless. But for now, he sat and watched the people walk past. Some were in a hurry. Some were lost in thought. Some were laughing with friends. None of them seemed to notice the strange signs he had followed. And that made the day feel even more special. It had been a day without rules, without maps, without expectations. Just curiosity and quiet discovery. And somehow, that made it one of the best days he'd had in a long time. Your brain just learned real English by listening to a real story. This is the most natural way to grow your vocabulary and understanding. No effort, just joy. Come back tomorrow for another journey like this one. And if you enjoyed it, show some love. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, what's the strangest sign you've ever followed?